Hi guys, welcome back. So in this lesson, I just want to quickly start by having a look at the sub bass of the bass layers that we just created. Just going to open that folder because at the moment we've got no EQ on any of these bass layers. And I mentioned it before, we don't want a build up of sub, which is anything below 100 really. We only want the sub layer to be in this space here. If you've got other things in this space, apart from the kick that is, you want the kick sub to be in there as well, but you don't want anything else, such as mid-depth bass, bass 1, anything from your percussion, drums or synths, you want to be taking out all of the low end, or the sub part of the lower end, just like we did here in these synth parts. Keep this space nice and clear for our sub. So with that said, the same applies to these two bass layers here. Obviously we'll keep the sub as it is. As you can see, that is occupying that space there between 20 and 100 and a touch more. So let's just quickly filter out. You can see we've got a spike there at about 150. Just solo that. So that's, you can hear the bass in there, or the lower part. That's with it taken out. Just don't want to take out too much though, just enough to make way. You don't want to take away the body. So again, we'll do the same thing. See, it's full of sub, this space. And that is going to conflict with our sub layer. Now it sounds empty now, but that's because we've just soloed it. So if you bring the sub in as well, then that is filling up the lower regions. If you have two bass layers filling up the lower regions, it's going to start getting boomy and you're going to have problems in your mix later on. So just something important to note, when you've got three different layers, just make sure your sub has its own space. And I'm thinking also that this Lasgo bass 1 might just take the top end off it. Just bring that a little bit darker, because we've got the top end on this part here, mid-depth. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, okay. Bring that sub down a touch. So what we're doing here is just mixing roughly as we go, so we don't have a mammoth task right at the end of the track where we've got to mix everything. It should be just a matter of just sort of tidying up a bit later on. That's what I do, I mix as I go. So moving on from the bass, we've got a nice riff going, we've got a nice bass line going. This catchy riff here will be for like the intro to the song, typical Lasgo style, start with the riff, and it'll also come back in the chorus as the hook. So what we need now is, after this intro section, I just duplicate these, Control D. So this is going to be the intro section. I'm not building the arrangement yet, I'm just having a think about it. And I want to move on to the next section, which is going to be verse 1. And we want to bring down the energy here. Typical Lasgo style again, they normally just have a pad and Evi Goffin singing, which is what we're going to do. We're going to do exactly the same, just going to bring the energy right down. A pad and a couple of sounds in the background. And that's the section we're going to work on now. So we want to make some vital instruments again. Same as before, add instrument track. Make sure vital is selected, and we'll do 3. and you want to open up your presets. Same as before, open external preset. I'll go to browse. We want Lasgo stabs as the first one. Okay, so these vitals have gone into the bass group. Just drag them out. The bass group also seems to have gone into the synth group. I'll just drag that out. And then just close those groups. Okay. So vital 1, Lasgo stabs. I'm going to name things as we go. Vital 2 will be the stabs thickener, but it's actually called BTP Guild. I'm just going to do a search for Guild, BTP Guild DH. This is obviously a preset I used from Demis Helen. Don't forget he's got lots of preset packs on sale on our website, which are fantastic. Obviously I've used one of his presets there, just as the thickener. We'll have a listen to these in just a second. So I'm going to call that stabs thickener. And if we've got time, I'm going to add in the pad as well. And just open the browser again. And it's called the Modern Saw Pad. And again, this is a Demis Helen preset. So let's first of all just get the MIDI in and have a listen, then we'll do some rough mixing. So go to your MIDI folder in your downloads. The pad can come in. The stabs thickener can come in. And Lasgo stabs can come in as well. Let's just have a listen to the stabs. And we'll just get the volume by listening to the last part of the previous section. So that's quite Lasgo sounding. It took quite a while to create that sound. Let's have a look at it. Again, Demis helped me with the creation of this. It's got all sorts of phasing filters on it and unusual waveforms with sort of data compression effects on, and phasing again in the filter section, phasing in the filter section, reverb, delay, EQ, plenty of EQ. Let's get that sounding right. And the envelopes affecting the filters. So let's just have another listen. And you can hear it sounds quite phasey. And I was mimicking this from the Something track, you know, the really, really iconic Something track by Lasgo. You ever listen to the background of that? It sounds something like that. But on its own, it's just a little bit boring. So let's have a listen to the thickener as well. This has got a bit of a glide on it, which I don't like. I'll just take that off. And we'll blend that in. So on its own, with the thickener, just adds a little bit more. We'll EQ these in a minute and we'll bring the pad in as well. So we're in D and we're in F sharp minor. Again, classic Lasgo, just use 2 chords, 2 notes on the bass line, pretty much. Let's have a listen to that. And this is where the vocal will start as well. So we're bringing the energy right down. I'll go much more into energy, peaks and troughs later on in the arrangement lesson. But we've got quite an energetic start here, which is what Lasgo do. They start with the riff, make it energetic, get the listener's attention. Then when we hit the verse, we bring it all down in energy. And it's normally sort of a sad song or sort of fairly sad lyrics. So you bring it right down. The pad will be filtered as well, and some of these sounds will be filtered and they'll come up in brightness a bit later on. This is where we'll do the automation, but for now we're just keeping it simple. So let's have a go at EQing the stabs. Take away the unwanted sub. And probably the top end as well. I think to bring out that sort of nasal tone, whilst looking at or listening to the original, it's a bit more nasally. That's before EQ. That's after. I think we might need to do something similar to the stab thickener, but let's have a listen to these two together. Now, if we've got no bass line here, then we don't need to worry too much about the sub, but I'm not sure. I think the bass line might come in the second half of the verse. I'm not sure yet, so I'm just going to EQ it anyway, just to be safe. Make that a little bit darker. Just giving that a tiny bite. And so they work together quite well. And that's before EQ. They're not working together quite so well there. Sort of the unwanted frequencies in the upper regions. I think they're working much nicer with that EQ. And the pad will probably just need the low end, that's all. We'll just do a gentle roll off here. You can see there's quite a bit down here in between 50 and 100. We don't want to take the body out of it, because that warm low end is quite nice. In the pad, we don't want to take all that out. This is what it would sound like. Sound awful. Just take out a smidgen of it, in case the bass line does come back in later. If not, we can take these EQs off. So let's have another listen to that transition, going from the intro section to the lower energy verse 1. I still think that's a little bit bright actually, those stabs. Because we're going to have a vocal in there, so we don't want it too bright. Okay, happy with that. We've got some more Lasgo sounds in there. All of these sounds have been referenced with the three main songs. In my opinion, the three main hits were Something, Pray and Alone. So all of these pads and extra sounds here have all been modelled on at least one of those tracks, and that is why I've got them sounding as they are. Okay, I think we've made really great progress with this track already. We've already done 3 lessons. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.